You woke up tired again. And I'm not talking about the kind of tired that a good night's sleep fixes. I'm talking about the kind of tired that lives in your bones. Yes, down in your bones. You have been fantasizing about quitting a job or changing positions that you spent 20 years earning, and you have already checked flight prices twice this week looking for somewhere to run to or escape. I see you, sis. I see you. So hear me clearly. I help high achieving women of color who are current or former athletes go from stressed out, burnt out, and overwhelmed to mentally and physically at peace without having to change jobs or escape on vacation. That is not a tagline, that's a promise. And today I'm going to show you how, with 5 ways to reduce burnout on the job, not after you resign, not on a beach somewhere, on that job, right where you are. So stay with me. Greetings and welcome to the Elevated Flo Playbook. The Elevated Flo Playbook is the solo series of the Elevated Flo podcast where I highlight elite and everyday female athletes of color, mostly over 40, sharing how they elevate their game and their flow in sports, wellness, work, and life. They share powerful stories of inspiration, strength, and wisdom to help women get active, stay active, and pass the torch to the next generation. So the Elevated Flo Playbook is where I share my expertise on the solo series. So welcome. Today's solo episode is just you and me. Just you and me. And we're talking about something I know a lot of you are living through it right now, even if you have not said the word out loud yet. And that is burnout. If you are new here, let me tell you exactly who I'm talking to today. You went to college, you did everything right. You climbed that ladder. You are the one everyone counts on at work and at home. And somewhere between the meetings, the deadlines, and yes, the microaggressions, you stop feeling like yourself. Here's the part that makes you different. You used to be an athlete. Maybe you ran track, played basketball, volleyball, maybe you swam or danced or rode. You used to know your body. You used to go to a locker room, you had a coach, you had a team, and now you have a cubicle or maybe an office, a calendar, and your body feels like a stranger. This episode is for you. I'm going to be sharing 5 ways to reduce burnout on the job, so grab something to write with, because I'm giving you tools that you can use before your next meeting and before you think about quitting. First, let me tell you how I know about burnout, not from a textbook, but from a parking lot, from my own experience. Years ago, when I lived in Los Angeles, I was a foster care and adoption social worker. Now, I love the children that I worked with, but I had a season where I would pull into the parking lot and I would put the car in park and I would sit there and I would cry. Before I even walked into the building, I would sit there and cry. And then I let it out. I fixed my face, checked my eyes in the mirror, and walk in like everything was fine. Why? Because that's what we do, right? We fix our face, we perform, we handle it. Well, one morning sitting in the car, I asked myself a question that changed everything. How are you going to start your day that way? Before you even go into the building, if I'm starting my day that way, what is the rest of the day going to look like? What is it costing you? What is it costing you to begin every single day already feeling burnt out, already feeling tired, already waiting for the end of the day to come? Now, I knew it was unhealthy, but I'm going to be honest with you because eventually I did make some changes in my life. Now, I know I said that I help you women without having to change jobs, quit their jobs, or escape on vacation. But sometimes the door needs to close. And what I learned on the other side of all that is this part that nobody tells you. Burnout travels. If you don't learn how to regulate your body, recover on purpose, and rebuild your peace, you will pack that same stress in your suitcase, in your briefcase, and carry it into the next job, the next city, the next relationship. I like to say, wherever you go, you will be. Think about that. So I've watched women take the big trip, sip the drink with the umbrella in it, post pictures, and be right back crying in the parking lot the next week upon coming home from that vacation. The vacation is not the cure. The resignation is not the cure. The cure is learning to create peace in that body and the life you already have. And that is what my Elevate framework is built to do. And today's 5 ways come straight from that framework. So let's get into it. Way number 1. Breathe. I know. I talked about it in the last episode where I talked about exhaling and breathing. But I know that every wellness person on the internet has told you to breathe. And I need you to understand something about the breath that changed how I see it forever. And in order to do that, I'm going to take you back to 2008 was one of the most challenging years of my life. My mother, both of my grandmothers, and one of my paternal uncles passed away, each within 2 months of each other. I was unemployed at the time. And so the good thing about being unemployed was that I was able to actually grieve because my mother was the first one that passed away. And that was the first time anyone that close to me had ever passed away. So I was able to grieve. But in that process of grief, my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, who I was really, really close with, was ill. And so I got the call from my aunt who was taking care of her. And she let me know that, it wasn't looking good. And pretty much we're just kind of waiting for her time to come. And so I had been talking to my friends, and they knew how close I was with my grandmother. They, of course, knew about my mom passing and everything. And so 3 of my closest friends from college bought me a plane ticket so I could go see my grandmother before she actually passed. Now, I want you to hold on to that detail because I'm going to come back to it later in this episode. But I'd like to say that I had the honor and the privilege of taking care of my grandmother during the last 2 weeks of her life. I got to witness the dying process. Now, I already talked about this being a very challenging time, being that my mother was the first person that was close to me that ever passed away and me experiencing death. But this being 4 months later, I got to witness the dying process. And it wasn't until then that I even knew that it was a process. And it may sound dark, but it was actually beautiful. When she took her final breath, my 2 aunts and I were in the living room, and my grandmother was in their bedroom. She wanted to be at home when she passed, and so we granted her those wishes. And so when she took her final breath, the 3 of us heard her breathe in. And then there was nothing. There was no exhale. Now, prior to that, you would probably think that the exhale would be the last, like letting everything go, the final time, letting everything out. But it wasn't. It's the inhale. The very last thing that we do here on earth is we breathe in. So here is what I came to understand from that experience. The threshold between life and death is in the exhale. As long as you can exhale, you are still here. You can still have breath in your body and life left to live as long as you can exhale. That's why when I tell you to breathe, I'm really telling you something bigger. Do not just breathe, exhale. Now, I understand that breathing in and of itself is involuntary. Your body does it whether you're paying attention or not. But exhale, the long, slow, intentional exhale, that's a choice. That's you deciding how you're going to live. And your body responds to that choice. When you extend your exhale longer than your inhale, you activate the rest and recover side of your nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system. Your heart rate slows down, your shoulders come down from around your ears, and your body gets the message that the threat has passed and it's safe to stand down. This is exactly why the very first step of my Elevate framework is exhale. And it's why my entire breathe framework lives inside that first step, which is balance, regulate, energize, align, train, harmonize, and then exhale. We start with the breath because you cannot think your way out of a dysregulated body. You have to breathe your way out. So here's your tool, and it's a simple one on purpose. Breathe in through your nose for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, then exhale through your mouth for a count of 8. Do that twice. So you want to breathe out twice as long as you do when you inhale, because it's the exhale that matters. Do that 4 times and see how that changes things for you. Do it at your desk before the next meeting where that one coworker, her, that triggers you. Do it when you go down the hall to the bathroom, or, do it in the parking lot instead of, sitting there crying like I did or being stressed out. Breathe. Do a deep breathing exercise before you go into work. And if you're a former athlete, listen, you already know this skill. You used your breath on the starting blocks, at the free throw line, sitting at the catch waiting for the horn to sound at a regatta. It's the same skill, just a different arena. Do not just breathe, exhale. So way number 1 is do not just breathe, exhale. All right. Way number 2. Awareness of what has been suffering. Notice I did not say awareness that you were stressed. You already know you're stressed. Everybody around you knows you're stressed. I want you to get specific about what has been paying the price. Now, here's what I know about high achievers. At work, you can track every number, meet every deadline, understand every deliverable. You know exactly where the business stands and what you need to do. But when was the last time you ran the numbers on yourself? So let's do a quick audit together right now and be honest with yourself. Number 1, your sleep. Are you waking up at 3 in the morning with your mind already running tomorrow's meeting, racing and having a hard time going back to sleep? Okay. Your body, the knees that ache going down the stairs, the weight that crept in over the last few years, even though you are eating the same way as you always have, that weight around your midsection. Now, I know. We're going through perimenopause and menopause, but really, think about it. That gym bag that rides around in your trunk like a passenger. How about your relationships? Are you snapping at people you love? Or even worse, have you gone quiet on them because you have nothing left to give them by the time you get home? What about your joy? When is the last time you did something for no other reason than it felt good? Yeah, self-awareness. I want you to do this test. Now, if some of those landed in your chest, it's not me judging you. That is awareness doing its job. Yes. So my athletes will tell you, before my crew ever pushes off the dock at White Rock Lake, we check the equipment. Every seat, every oarlock, every rigger. Because a small problem you ignore on land becomes a big problem in the middle of the lake. So your body and your work life are the same way. You cannot fix what you refuse to look at. So in the Elevate framework, this is where lead yourself begins. Self-leadership comes before team leadership, before family leadership, before all of it. And self-leadership starts with you telling yourself the truth. So here's your homework for way number 2. Tonight, before you go to bed, write down 3 things in your life that have been suffering. Now, don't try to fix them. Don't make a plan yet. Just name them. I want you to be aware and write it down on paper, or no, write it down on paper, because when you go to bed, you're not supposed to be having screen time. So write it down on paper, because naming them takes their power down a notch. And it tells your brain what matters now. But I don't want you to stop there. What I want you to do is I also want you to write down 3 things that you're grateful for today. 3 things that you're grateful for today, because I want you to go to sleep with an attitude of gratitude, okay? So way number 2 is awareness of what has been suffering. Now, way number 3 to reduce burnout on the job is acceptance that you need help. Whoo! Now this one makes high achieving women squirm. So let's just sit in it together for a minute. Admitting and accepting that you need help. Now you got where you are by figuring it all out, by being twice as good, because you know that's what we have to do, By being the strong one, the reliable one, the one who handles it all. Nobody handed you anything. And somewhere along that road, asking for help started feeling like failure, like you have to ask. You didn't earn it. I want to offer you a different way to see it. And I'm going to use the language you grew up with, athlete language. Did you ever train without a coach? Think about it. Serena Williams had a coach her whole career. Simone Biles has a coach right now. An EY study of executive women found that 94% of women in the C-suite played sports. 94 and 56% played collegiate sports. Not one of them got to the elite level alone. Every race, every season, somebody was on the sideline coaching them. Needing help is how elite performers operate. It always has been. The only place we got the idea that strong women do everything alone is a place that was never designed for our wellness in the first place. That was put on us. But that is not how we are designed. So what does help look like? It might look like finally booking the doctor's appointment you keep pushing off. It might look like scheduling a session with a therapist. It might look like starting training with a trainer, a personal trainer, a fitness coach. Maybe it looks like a career coach. It might look like telling your family that dinner is a team sport now and not a solo event. It might look like saying no to the commitment, the extra project, the thing you volunteer for out of guilt. And let me remind you of something I say often. No is a complete sentence. You don't owe anyone a paragraph. Acceptance also means accepting what your body has been trying to tell you. Rest is a performance tool, not laziness. Athletes build recovery days into training because their body only gets stronger when it's allowed to repair. You would never call a rest day weak in a training plan, would you? So stop calling it weak in your life. Way number 3 is acceptance that you need help. Say it with me. I need help. And that makes me smart, not weak. Awesome. All right. Way number 4 of reducing burnout on the job is to realize you are not alone and then go one step further and join a community. Remember those 3 college friends I told you about? The ones that bought my plane ticket to go see my grandmother before she passed? I told you I was unemployed, so I couldn't afford that ticket. And here's the part that still gets me. My community, my friends did not wait for me to ask. They saw me and they moved. They called me and told me, you're leaving tomorrow. Here's your plane ticket. Here's your confirmation. And that really touched me because they saw me. They didn't wait for me to ask. They knew what position I was in at the time. They knew how close I was with my grandmother, and they moved and they went ahead and collaborated on that effort to get me to see my grandmother before she passed. So community is everything. And it's not just a cute little saying that goes on a coffee mug. That example is me showing that I have receipts. Community has stepped up and helped me. So one of my favorite movies, and I've talked about this several times, is Waiting to Exhale. There were 4 friends. Each one of them was waiting on a man to give her permission to finally live. And the whole movie turns when they realize their best life was never coming from the outside. It could only be generated from within and through the bonds of their actual friendship. So that's when they stop waiting to exhale and they exhale together. Burnout lies to you. Burnout tells you that you're the only one, that every other woman in the building and in the office has it all together. Meanwhile, the woman 2 offices down is fixing her face in her car every morning too. Isolation is not protecting you, sis. It's starving you. Let me give you a picture of this with a rowing analogy, because this is really the whole reason why I fell in love with the sport. Nobody rows in an 8 alone. 8 women, 1 boat, and that boat does not move because one person is pulling harder than everybody else. It moves when all 8 swing together in rhythm, breathing together, trusting each other. The first time you feel a boat lift and run under you is because everyone is in sync. You were built for a team. You were built for community. You had one once. The locker room, the relay, the crew. And somewhere in your corporate climb, you lost it. That loss is part of your burnout, whether you've connected the dots or not. So find your people, a walking group, a hiking group, a rowing club, a circle of women who ask you how you're doing and really want to hear the real answer. So get in a boat, whatever your boat looks like, and hold on to this one because before we close today, I'm going to tell you about the boat that I built. Way number 4, you are not alone. Please join a community. And last but not least, way number 5, take action. Now, in my Elevate framework, this is the step that I call activate because awareness without action is just information. And you did not come here for information, you came here for change. Now breathe because I'm not about to tell you how to overhaul your whole life. That's exactly the all or nothing athlete brain that got you here. What I'm giving you is small, boring, mundane, repeatable action. That is how peace gets built. That is how flow gets built. So here are 5 moves, and I want you to pick one from them. Do not try to do them all in one. So first, start with one thing, not 5, 1. Your plate is already full, so we're not adding a whole new lifestyle this week. 1 glass of water before coffee, 1 10-minute walk at lunch, 1 bedtime alarm. One thing done daily beats 10 things done never. Second, change your physical environment. And let me tell you how serious I am about this one. Years ago, I quit a job after the first day. Yep, day 1. I had gone from sharing a beautiful office in a Culver City building where we had greenery outside and it was beautiful view, beautiful environment to going into a building and not just sharing a cubicle, but sharing a desk. Now, it didn't have a view at all. And when I walked into the building, it was really dark. You know how you walk in some buildings and I don't know, it was an old building, so all the lights weren't on. I got on the elevator and I went up to the floor that the office was on, and even the office was kind of dark and dreary. And I walked in and I felt my whole spirit just drop. And I was just like, wow, there is no way in the world I could come to this building every day. I just can't work in an environment like this. So the next day, I walked into the building, went to the office, and I wrote my letter resignation. I did. Now, I'm all about a healthy environment, and even a picture on the wall could not have saved that one. Now, I know that my whole thing is telling you, how to reduce burnout without quitting the job. And I'm not telling you to go quit tomorrow. Absolutely not. The whole point of this episode is what I'm telling you is that your environment is either feeding you or draining you every single day. And you have more control over it than you think. So open the blinds, put a plant on your desk, fresh flowers at the beginning of the week. Eat your lunch outside instead of over your keyboard. Don't do a working lunch. Get outside, get some fresh air. That is one of the main reasons why I love to grow. There's a reason why when I was in Los Angeles and I was driving home from work on the 10 freeway going west, and I would see the sun start to go down, and it was like it was calling me to it, calling me to it. And I would stay on that freeway and go all the way to the beach and watch the sunset. Blue and green spaces calm the nervous system in a way that no break room ever will. Now, recently, just past weekend, I went to the park and I said I was just going to sit down, and I was talking to my cousin on the phone and she encouraged me to do some grounding. And so I was just sitting there. I said, okay. I text my father and I said, okay, I'm going to be at the park for about 20 minutes. And then, I was going to come home. And so I was grounding and just sitting there enjoying the weather and the breeze and the heat and looking at the water and listening to the birds chirp. And by the time I looked up, it had been over an hour. That's what happens when you give your body something real instead of another screen. Like I said, yes, I was talking to my cousin, but not the whole time. And just being with nature. The third thing, The third thing that I want you to do is look at your vision board every day. It's funny, somebody said the other day about their New Year's resolutions. He said he asked his friend, "How are you doing with your New Year's resolutions?" And he basically was like, "Oh, I forgot all about those." Yes, we are more than halfway into the year. And a lot of times people's vision boards and New Year's resolutions go out the window after the second month. So, what I'm encouraging you to do is look at your vision board every day. Honestly, I have it as a screensaver on my phone every day. You speak and the universe listens. So, put what you want where your eyes will land on it. If you don't have a vision board, a sticky note on the bathroom mirror counts, or on your computer, or if you have to write on your mirror with lipstick. I just want you to focus on what you want and not on what you're trying to escape. The fourth thing I want you, or fourth option, because remember, we're not doing all of these, is change your screensaver. I just talked about this. This is the smallest move on the list and one of my favorite. Your phone is the thing that you look at more than anything else in your life. So make the lock screen work for you. Turn it into a lake, an affirmation, the version of your life you are building. Every glance becomes a rep. Every glance becomes a memory. Every glance becomes a seed that is being planted towards what it is that you want, the harvest that you're looking forward to. And fifth, change your screen time. Yes, I say what I say. Change your screen time. The doom scrolling is not rest. Doom scrolling is not rest. It feels like rest because your body is still, but your nervous system is running sprints. And if you really think about it, think about all of the emotions you feel when you're doom scrolling. So trade 20 minutes of scrolling for 20 minutes of your one thing out of these 5 and watch what happens to your energy in 2 weeks or even a couple of days. All right. So way number 5 is take action. One small thing starting today. All right. Now let's run through all 5 ways to reduce burnout on the job. Way number 1, breathe, and do not just breathe, exhale. The threshold between life and death is in the exhale. So use yours on purpose. Be intentional about your exhale. Way number 2, awareness of what has been suffering. Run the numbers on yourself and name 3 things tonight, and then do your 3 gratitude. Things that you're grateful for. Way number 3, acceptance that you need help. Every elite athlete has a coach, and so you should have one as well. Way number 4, realize you are not alone. Join a community. Nobody rose and ate alone. And way number 5 was take action. One small thing, your environment, your vision board, your screensaver, or your screen time. So this is not theory for me. This is work that I do every single day, not just with myself, but with high achieving women of color who are current or former athlete, where they actually go from stressed, burnt out, and overwhelmed to mentally and physically at peace without having to change jobs or escape on vacation. Now, if way number 4 really hits you differently, and you heard yourself talking about being alone in this, I want to tell you about a boat I built for you. It's called the Elevated Woman Inner Circle, and it lives on Patreon. It's where I go deeper than I go on the podcasts. It's a community of women just like you, 40 and over, athletes at heart, building peace on purpose instead of waiting for a vacation to hand it to them. You've handled everything alone for long enough. Come get in the boat. We row together. The link is in the description below. Join us in the Elevated Woman Inner Circle. I hope to see you inside. Thank you for spending part of your day with me today. Take your one thing from this episode and start it before the sun goes down. Okay? Remember to be healthy, be fit, be well. This is Coach Flo signing off. Until next time, remember to find your zone and elevate your flow. Peace.
1, 2, 3.